Aaron, really good to see you back on top of things. I think we're in a good place, a good track here, and I think what some people might forget from last weekend is that it was ridiculously tight at the top. There was 5 seconds in the top 10. I mean, you maybe just didn't have a good day, and things weren't actually as bad as all that, really, were they?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those weekends. I think when you win as much as I've won, second place, and people are gonna kind of freak out, and it's fine with me. You're racing the best guys in the world, and they're getting better every year, just like I'm getting better. So it's like winning these things isn't easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, last weekend just wasn't the best weekend for me. I couldn't really get comfortable, and I mean I was pretty far off the pace, but I felt fine. I was actually more mellow after that race and happy than I have been in a long time, because it was, I felt fine. I just knew there was some work to be done.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, I've just always liked bigger bikes, but I mean, it's hard to tell till you get to a real track. I mean, there's nothing at home and almost nothing in America that is World Cup rough that we can ride in the off season. So I was riding the tracks at home, and they were fun. I like the smaller bike and kind of the position I had, everything, because all the tracks at home are smooth and there's kind of tight little corners, so it's more playful to run your setup that way and more fun to ride. And but for me, once we got to the real tracks, it just wasn't a race setup. I couldn't be aggressive. I was just a bit unstable and just kind of couldn't feel like I could ride in my speed.
What exactly were you feeling? I mean, is it a physical thing? Is it kind of to do with the dynamic ride? What were you feeling when you came, at Fort William, and when you came here? What was the?
It's just that stability and being able to attack the track. For me, I didn't have enough room to move around on the bike. I felt cramped, and it was putting my body weight in a spot that I don't like. I have kind of a style where I usually ride, and I couldn't ride there. And but I mean, it's just part of the process. It's a new bike, totally different than my last one, and we hadn't ridden anything rough, so we felt like we were good. But until you show up and you do it, you don't know. So yeah, but I mean, everything's good now. I jumped on that thing this morning, and first run felt kind of back to my old self again. So it's good.
So were you feeling tired in Fort William, or and here on the medium? Is it your legs? Is it your arms? What exactly is it?
No, I felt fine. Just didn't feel like I could push and go fast. It was just unstable. A few times I kind of flew off the track in practice, and I just didn't have enough room to move around, and I didn't have the wheelbase under me that gave me confidence to really push it.
Yeah. I mean, for people watching this video, I mean, when you say move around, you kind of it gives your body kind of room to breathe, doesn't it? I guess, especially on a really hard track.
Yeah, and I think I ride probably further forward than a lot of people do, and so when I rode further forward on that, I was all over the handlebars, so I had to put my weight back, and then it put me in a position that I don't really like to ride, and just didn't feel comfortable. So, but I mean, everybody has their own styles. Troy and Mitch are on smalls, so it's like, and they're almost my height, so it just depends on your style.
How tall are you exactly?
I'm like 5'10".
Right. Okay. Jacy, this is Jacy, which is Aaron Gwin's mechanic. Jacy, you've been through a few things in the last week. You've gone from medium to large. What prompted that move?
Well, when Aaron's been riding on his demo since January, and when he first started out, he started riding a medium frame, and it was the closest thing at the time to what he'd been riding in the past. And we went through a few races here and there, but nothing really that would replicate, a World Cup track, either Fort William or Val di Sole. So after riding last week, he was just looking for more room, and lucky enough for us, a bunch of the Specialized crew here doing some work with some media people, and they just happened to have a large frame. And after yesterday's day of practice, really the only option that everybody decided on was just to give it a go on the bigger frame.
And what did he say when he came down the first run today? He was on the large. What was his feedback to you?
He said he can ride again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it doesn't even really matter necessarily what we went from or what we went to. A lot of times it ends up just being when a rider gets something in their head and they just can't get away from it. The best thing to do is just change everything. If you were at a race where you've got 3-4 days of practice, well, that's great, but especially with the modified schedule, practice is so short that if you're working on trying to change things and searching for an answer, it's really tough. You don't have enough runs to really make it happen. So
excuse me.
Ireland, hey.
Do you think the bike matters?
I think it matters as long as the rider's happy with the bike. Like when you're talking about Sam back in the day, originally his bike was a stock bike. For a few years it was. I know you don't believe us, but it really was. That bike that you saw and measured and played with was only the second one that was different than like a standard one.
Yeah.
So I think at times too, though, riders go and everybody's different. You know, some guys they ride the same setup all the time, and some guys, you know, they make changes. And Aaron's one of those guys that when he gets to a race, he gets comfortable and he doesn't want to make a lot of changes, so he can focus on the track and that kind of good stuff. And I think unfortunately, this way the bike was set up just wasn't working for him, and so changing the size was the best way to go about it.
So here's his bike.
Yep.
This is a production large demo. I think the main changes that since you've gone to the large, you've gone for so you've got a zero stack stem here.
Yep.
And it's 45 millimeters.
Yeah, 45mm rev pulse stem.
Right, and the bar.
A 30mm.
Right. 30 mil rise.
Yeah.
780.
790.
Right. Okay. Can you see yourself going anywhere different with it now, or is he quite happy as it is?
Well, I think he's quite happy right now.
Yeah.
But all the more reason though to go through a whole race. The thing is, too, is that he can go and this is awesome right now. So he'll race it. You know, he'll ride practice tomorrow, practice again on Sunday, and then race on Sunday afternoon. And for now, it's great. It's leaps and bounds better for him than it was yesterday.
Just quickly goes through spring rate. 450 seems quite heavy, but I mean, is that?
No, on these bikes, I think generally they're a hair undersprung.
Yeah.
Like Troy's riding a 400. Aaron was riding a 500, which is probably a little on the firm side.
And the reason I ask you, I mean, there's a lot of people out there who've got specialized demos, just to give them a bit of feedback on what kind of spring. You know, Aaron's 165 pounds.
Yeah.
He's 5'10".
Yeah.
So just to give some people an idea really of what their kind of setup should be like. Obviously he rides a lot faster, but
I guess the thing is a lot of these guys, they like their bike to soak up more so like the medium and the big hits. They also want their bike, if you watch Supercross, you watch motocross, you watch MotoGP, you see the dudes, they go through the whoops, the bike doesn't soak up every whoop. They skip from whoop to whoop, and that's the fastest way to carry momentum through a section. So a lot of these guys aren't looking for a bike that tracks the ground, bump for bump. So that's why a lot of times you see some of the pro guys' bikes being stiffer. Yeah.
Spot on. So you're all happy now at the minute, going into the final?
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm always happy, man.
Great.
Good times.
Thanks, JC.
Yeah,
Nice one. Okay, we just wandered into the specialised camp. Brandon Sloan, who's the boss. Actually, what is your job title, Brandon?
My job title is Director of High-End Bicycles and Specialized.
Yeah. And we got Jason Chamberlain.
Hello.
And Jason Chamberlain designed the bike, the demo?
I designed the demos. I'm the lead engineer.
Okay, going back to Brandon. Brandon, you've got the fastest rider in the world come in 17th place in Fort William. You guys must have been sweating a bit.
I don't think we did that good. we were a little nervous, yeah.
Yeah. But today, we got kind of second in qualifying in a far better place. You've ridden a million bikes. Do you think the bicycle matters? I mean, what were your thoughts when? I mean, how did it come to the fact that he went on to a large demo? How did all that work out?
How did he get the idea to ride a large demo? Well, he was saying in Fort William he was a little bit cramped on the bike, feeling a little bit over the handlebars, I think it was, and he's looking for some more room to move around. So he was just kind of fishing around to see if we had a large, and we actually had one for you to test this weekend that we stole and arranged for him to race on.
Right. I mean,
worked out pretty well.
Do you yourself believe that a bike really matters significantly? I mean, it's not 10 seconds, is it? Come on, let's face it. But does it give you the...
Sure, you got to be comfortable on what you're riding on, and to hang it out, and the times are real tight. Is it 12 seconds, like you say? Probably not. But the bike does matter, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Jason.
Yeah.
Aaron Gwin is 5'10", and he's now on a large specialised demo.
Yeah.
When we went to San Romolo to do the carbon downhill bike test, does that mean that we've got a lot of 6 foot plus riders who are going to need an extra large specialised demo? I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Not a problem. I think it's a little unusual for someone of that that height to ride that size bike, but guys in the past have been riding a size smaller more commonly, and I see no reason why the trend couldn't shift the other way, where guys start riding a slightly longer bike or a larger bike, because the wheelbase is longer and it's more stable at higher speeds. So
I guess there's a couple of things. There's what you just said, one word there, trend, but there's the other fact that maybe some other manufacturers' bikes are too small, possibly, because your large is actually the largest large out there.
Yeah.
So how do you disassociate trend from, you know, all the other manufacturers? Because everyone thinks, well, I need a large or I need a medium. So,
well, when I say trend, our bikes have always been on the longer side, and so for us it's always been not a trend but a reality that we run a little bit longer bikes. And if Aaron or any other rider seems to see the benefit of riding a slightly longer bike, then we're happy to offer it for him, whatever makes him more comfortable.
okay, great.
One of the things that Aaron was telling me was that today's tracks are a lot faster and a little bit straighter, so the shorter, tighter geometry that gets you through the trees, the real twisty sections, he feels like he's making more speed up on the longer, straighter, faster sections where he wants high-speed stability as opposed to the real tight, twisty cornering speed. So that's kind of his take on things right now.
Yeah, I guess there's like fact and feeling as well, isn't there? I mean, you can only know what the score is until you put the clock on it. So
yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, the rider has to be comfortable and confident and have trust in his bike. And whatever setup that is, he should run it.
yeah, and I think the message for everybody is that you can't just think, oh, Aaron Gwin's running large, yeah, I'm going to ride large. You need to set your bike up in, it's you, we're all different shapes. And so you can't, you know, we all need to adjust everything differently. So it's not as straightforward as that, is it, really?
No, absolutely. Mitch and Troy are both still on the same size they've been on for several years, and they're not just going to suddenly switch to a longer frame.
Yeah.
They'll certainly try all the different options available to them, but you're absolutely right. You got to pick the frame that matches your riding style, your riding position, and your weight balance between the front and rear to give you the traction and the position correctly. So it's up to the rider.
Yeah. I mean, this next question, we can cut it out if you want to, but I would have thought, was it not a mistake not to have ridden hard tracks and longer tracks before you came to Fort William?
I mean, like I said, we really don't have anything in America to ride. So for me, in the past, everything that I do the best is when I'm home, I can stick on my training program. I can do everything exactly how I want to do it. So taking a week and a half and trying to come to Europe for a race when I'm kind of riding crunch time in my training for me, and you know, and I enjoy being home, so I don't really like leaving if I don't have to. So it's, yeah, I mean, but looking back, maybe you do different things now, but in the past it's always worked for me, so why would you change it? You know, it's just, sometimes you don't know it till you get there, and it's just how it goes.
Can we see Aaron Gwin coming to Wales for winter mud training in the future? Or?
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of mud or cold weather, so California's pretty nice in the winter, but maybe.
Yeah. Hey, listen, thanks for your time, and it's really good to see you back on top. So what have we got? You've got a kind of medium rise bar or low rise? What?
I don't know. The comfortable rise bar.
45 stem, but you've got a 0 stack 45 stem on there, yeah?
You guys are getting too into this stuff, man.